With us being polyamorous from the get-go, we've really learned how to function as a team. It really highlights for me that marriage is beyond just sex.
Welcome to Should We Get Married?
My name is Emily Carter.
My name is Maxson and Elektra.
And in this podcast, we're trying to figure out if we should get legally married to each other or stay dating forever.
What's up with people playing it so cool these days?
Today's guests are Miles and Elektra, a married polyamorous couple. We ask them about what marriage means to them in their non-monogamous life.
Let's get into it.
This segment's called Tweets Without Context.
In 6th grade, a girl in class read orgasm instead of organism, and the class laughed and she was embarrassed. To calm her down, our teacher told her everyone would forget in 2 weeks. It's been 9 years and I still remember, Danielle. I fucking remember. I hope you see this. Okay. Back on track. Who are we talking to today, Maxson?
All right, M-Dog. Today we're going to talk to Miles and Elektra. And we're talking to them because they are married, but get this, they're polyamorous. Do you know what polyamorous means?
No. What does it mean?
Shit, I was actually hoping you would be able to define it.
I mean, I have a guess, but I bet everyone defines it differently.
As I understand it, polyamorous just means it's okay for you to be in relationships, in romantic relationships with multiple people at once. I don't really know what the rules are. We're going to get into it with them. But I'm stoked.
Me too. Yesterday, you and I were walking to our favorite little spot in our neighborhood, and we were talking about how we think about some of these things. And I gave the example of being like, let's say Maxson's on a business trip and he meets someone and he feels this like flutter of connection with someone, and oh my God, they feel it back. What a crazy little feeling. What a beautiful little thing that happens. And then you share a small kiss and you go to sleep and you're happy and you feel warm and you feel desired and connected to the world. And it's crazy that things have ended because of that. There's something very pure about it if you take the lying away. And I think that you and I feel most concerned about the lying of it all. So hopefully we can get into that a little bit.
Yeah. But how many times in our life do we get to have like a special spark feeling in our hearts and bodies? Maybe like 100 times between now and the day that I die. Why would we want to put shame on that? Why would we want to limit that? Maybe there are good reasons, but there are also a lot of bad reasons. Mm-hmm. So I vibe with what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited for this one. I'm super grateful that they're down to talk to us.
Okay. Without further ado, Miles and Elektra, initiate interview sequence now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Interview. Let's just start with the names thing because that's really interesting. Mm-hmm. Miles and Elektra are actually not your names given to you at birth. These are names that you have adopted. So what's that about?
It originally started as a layer of plausible deniability, but then it became my persona. I have another friend whose government name is Miles, and when people try to talk to him, I turn, I look, and I get confused.
Oh.
So it is my name.
Got it. Okay.
And also adding to the origin with Miles of Rope.
Yeah, so Miles and Miles of Rope, miles.of.rope was my Instagram handle before it got zucked, got deleted.
Well, and the rope is referring to shibari rope, which is a sort of kink practice of sorts. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so that's actually how we met. Once upon a time, I had tried to form my first open relationship, and in the aftermath of that breakup, I was like, what do I want to do with my life? I want to dance, and I want to learn shibari. So then I went and started learning shibari, and then started going to these rope shares, and in parallel, off in the universe, Elektra went off and started seeking out shibari people. And we met, the very first time we met was at a shibari Skillshare. It was at a sex-positive co-living community in Bushwick, which is a very Bushwick thing to say.
Yeah, that's
perfect
like
sentence.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, we met in a basement of this place in Bushwick where people were teaching each other how to tie each other up. And there's this like really thick ass framed in like rope. I hadn't even seen her face yet, but I was like, damn, that ass. And I was like, walked up and I was like, this is a really interesting harness.
Great technique.
Can I observe? I want to learn.
So you met you were literally were you taught? I'm imagining you trussed up like a turkey, and that's the moment where you guys met for the first time. Is that accurate, or am I mischaracterizing it?
No, I was standing.
Okay.
The funny thing is that was like a very brief encounter, but we didn't properly meet until like a few weeks later. And that was at like a play party.
Got it.
So that was when we like properly connected. I just thought he was like this weird guy that he was wearing his work shirt and then just his underwear.
Oh my God.
I count that. I think that's what I want to wear all the time.
He was Winnie the Poohing it.
He was winning the pooing. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is like pre-pandemic days of like before that was like acceptable.
You guys are polyamorous. That means you are like, what's it in a sentence?
I think polyamory is like leaving space to hold love for multiple people.
Mm-hmm.
We are married, so there's like some form of hierarchy there in terms of we're nesting partners. We live together. We make a lot of financial decisions together. But in terms of like loving other people, we acknowledge that we love other people, and that's not necessarily like a thing that coders should be quantified and ranked.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Elektra's best friend that she used to live with, she's like Elektra's platonic life mate.
This is Kelly.
Yeah. You know, I know that Elektra loves Kelly, and they have a different relationship, and that they need to hang out usually like once a week, and they're going to go do their thing. It's like leaving space for other kinds of relationships and manifestations of love. And I don't think it's like fair to set boundaries around who you can and can't love.
Do you guys spend more time with each other than anyone else, or time is not limited in that way?
I guess one of the tenets of like one of the common aphorisms of polyamory is that love is infinite, but time is not.
Oh.
Much like Dungeons and Dragons, with polyamory, the calendar is the ultimate thing to wrangle. I think by default, since we live together, we spend most of our time together, but we don't necessarily have like rules around how much time we can spend with someone. But if I go start hanging out with some new partner and then suddenly I'm spending all my time with them, it'll probably bring up like, hey, what about me? What about the needs for our relationship? We try to like be mindful about maintaining commitments and cultivation of our existing partnerships.
Yeah.
And it fluctuates week by week.
Yeah. And this is going to be another very Brooklyn thing that I'm about to say, is that I was coming down from a giant mushroom trip. I did like 8 grams of mushrooms and I was doing the dishes, and I was thinking about the concept of relationships as a devotional practice where you can't just like, you know, you meet somebody and suddenly, okay, we're friends, or okay, we're married, we're set. Like relationships take nurturing and cultivation. It requires devotion. It requires repeatedly showing up.
Yeah, it's like going to the gym, not getting a tattoo. It's not like one and done. The thing itself is the repetition of it. You guys have sex with each other in addition to having sex with other people?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you also have sex with other people together?
Yes.
Sometimes, yeah.
And then sometimes you have sex with other people like in the same room, but like you're not that close to each other?
Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah.
Miles tends to, he's not really a one night stand kind of guy. He's like really enjoys having like good emotional connection and like friendship with people, which means often he is friends with someone and then he's like, maybe we should have sex. So if we had a rule that was like, you can't have sex with friends, basically Miles would never have sex.
Not totally true, but often true.
We often have to have conversations because if it's someone I know, it might be like, okay, how do you feel about this? Like, what would that mean when we hang out and when we share spaces together? Would you feel okay if I pursue this person, etc.? So I think if he randomly put on a date with someone that without having that conversation, I'd be like, what is this? It's not really like permission asking. It's more like informing.
And like checking in.
Yeah, checking in, like being considerate. That's definitely one of my triggers if I feel like I'm not being considered.
Obviously, we are doing this project called Should We Get Married? And marriage is a central crux of why we're all here and talking. And I'm curious, given that you are in non-monogamous, kink, queer spaces, like why did you want to get married? And what does marriage mean to you, if not monogamy?
So there's a book, Polysecure.
It's the Bible.
Yeah.
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 It's mandatory reading for poly people, but also highly suggested reading for generally anybody that's in relationships, because it's probably the most practical guide to attachment theory and how it manifests in relationships.
Yeah, and a core piece of it is thinking about often in monogamy, couples will often rely on exclusivity as like part of the foundation of their relationship, not being with other people. And in polyamory, you do need to find an alternate foundation that it isn't based on exclusivity. And I actually think it's a really valuable exercise for couples in any kind of relationship structure to do, because it means like if jealousy comes up or any kind of like boundary crossing, then you can go back to these values.
Yeah, I think this idea that most monogamous relationships are based on this sexual exclusivity as the foundation for trust and security is a real landmine, I think, for most relationships. It really highlights for me that marriage is beyond just sex. You can also see, like, in monogamous relationships, there's lots of companionate marriages, people who have been married for a long time, and a lot of people just drift off and stop having sex. Goes to show that some of those marriages are unhappy, sexless marriages, but some of those marriages are perfectly happy, companionate marriages. That's like a monogamous proof that marriage is not just about sex. It's actually about teamwork. It's about shared values. It's about operating together in order to accomplish and take on life.
Okay, you guys are not centering the foundation of your marriage in monogamy. And it would be very helpful for no one to do that, to center it in other stuff. That makes a lot of sense. And it almost feels trite to be like, yeah, like a marriage is about sex. Like it actually feels like so narrow. The things that you guys point to that are our relationship, our marriage, our relationship is founded on what central principles? Because it's not monogamy.
Yeah. Well, we put a lot of thought into this when we got married. We actually incorporated it into our vows and into the ceremony.
And I think it's notable that we didn't have a religious ceremony. It goes without saying.
Could have guessed.
So we wanted, in having a non-religious ceremony, we were like, okay, well, what do we want to talk about? And then we decided we really wanted to focus on shared values.
We had two ceremonies. One was at Burning Man, which we felt like we were able to be truly, authentically ourselves in like all aspects of ourselves. As we were talking through that, we were like, oh, like who is getting married at Burning Man? Like we are going to have a Brooklyn legal ceremony, but like, can we bring in our other personas? And so like, in addition to Miles and Elektra, we also have playa names. If you're familiar with Burning Man, often you have a name that people call you at the burn. And so we were there as Trash Panda and Littlefoot. And so we were like, is that who's getting married? And it's like, but we feel like we should marry Miles and Elektra. It's such a central part of our relationship. Mm-hmm. We ended up bringing in 4 different personas, which we can talk more about.
Mm-hmm.
So we staged it was a multiverse wedding.
Wow. I've never heard of that. That's so cool.
Yeah.
So there's the playa personas. This is who you are at Burning Man. There is Miles and Elektra. This is like your kink scene names in the world of like group sex and shibari rope kink play and maybe other stuff which we can get into. And then there's others. I guess there's your like default world names.
Yeah.
Did you do those there? And then there's a 4th category.
We didn't do the default world names.
Oh, you didn't do default?
No.
We were like, our default personas have an entire day to themselves in Brooklyn. So we're like, who's getting married at Burning Man? Mm-hmm. It's going to be Miles and Elektra, Trash Panda and Littlefoot. And then there's like our pet name personas, which are Pookie and Agapi.
Which I think you might have heard me say Agapi. It's like...
Yeah, I just heard that.
It means love in Greek. And so that's our like caring, kind of like grounding personas.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's like our annoying personas. Like it's kind of like there's in every relationship there are pet peeves and like things that you're like, oh God.
Totally.
It's like, I love you despite being Puddles.
This is Puddles, yeah.
What's Miles, what's your Puddles?
My annoying persona is Fart Face Cowboy.
Okay.
FFC.
FFC and Puddles got married at Burning Man also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We summoned them all out of portals. We actually found a really beautiful statue that was like 5 statues that had like a drum membrane.
Yep.
So then we like summoned the 4 pairs from 4 of the drums, and then we pushed them into a superposition in the center one, and then we married them all at once in a quantum superposition.
Oh, yeah. I've been to a
Of
couple
course.
of those.
Derivative.
Yeah. Right. No, I think that's what the royal wedding was, a quantum superposition. Okay. We're in the midst of hearing about, hey, it's not, your relationship's not founded on monogamy as like the central tenet. What are the central tenets?
Yeah. So when we were thinking about what we wanted to say for our Brooklyn ceremony, our friend Kelly helped us write this ceremony that talked through like the 4 core values that are the foundation of our relationship. We were like authenticity, obviously, as well. And we've already been speaking about that. Adventure in terms of like kink adventures. It's also like hiking and camping adventures. Obviously, the burn is also a big adventure. Community is also a big part. That's also why the Burning Man ceremony was so important to us. And then we were talking about wholeheartedness. So like wholeheartedness means like the light and the dark, the good and the bad. And that's the annoying personas that we talked about. So it's like, it's also accepting those parts of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But then our friend Kelly was like, so you have an A, another a C, and a W. What if you made the W a B? And we were like, oh. So then we also have a hidden 5th.
You know, we went from having adventure, community, authenticity, and wholeheartedness to adventure, community, authenticity, and balance, which codes for our secret 5th value, ACAB.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there's an Easter egg 5th value in our ceremony that you know, we got to express in the ceremony with my family there.
And giggle out.
Wow. I'm just really loving the beautiful brushstrokes of your relationship where you met at like Shibari Con. Then you got married in a superstructure of drums with the 4 different personas. The central tenets of the partnership are these really special foundational pillars that spell out ACAB. It's just like, you guys are the kings and queens of Brooklyn.
We didn't say it ourselves, folks.
Oh, so this is definitely going to add to your like king and queen of Brooklyn.
Brooklyn narrative.
We're both Aquarius. I'm born on the 2nd of Feb and he's born on the 5th.
So we often celebrate our birthdays together, but this year I'm turning 40. So we rented out our favorite sex party venue and we're throwing a forgy, which is a 40th birthday party orgy. So like 40 of my sluttiest friends are showing up and we're going to have like a big party and it's going to be totally absurd. There's probably going to be lube wrestling and balloon bondage, all kinds of silly shit.
Oh, that's amazing. It reminds me of my dad's 60th.
The balloon bondage, eh? Good old pops.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah. No, we have a lot of good recommendations for vendors if you're looking for someone who sells like 50-gallon drums of lube.
Keg lubes. Lube kegs.
Yeah, lube keg.
Oh, did we line up the lube keg delivery? Is that on track?
That's one of the surprises.
Yeah.
Can't ruin the surprises.
I was joking a second ago because it's like kooky, but it's actually so important and so beautiful and completely what people should do is sit down and think, what are we deciding to ground our relationship in? And everyone, it seems, is being short-sighted where they're like, well, if I don't have physical contact with another person, we're good. Like, that's what a good marriage is. We like did a good job. And instead, you guys were like, well, that's its own thing. Are we grounded in community? Are we going on adventures? And in the broadest sense of the word, are we foregrounding civic engagement? And like, how do we rebel in our own ways? How do we live a revolutionary life? And then what was the A at the beginning?
Authenticity.
Authenticity.
Authenticity. Yeah, that's a good idea. I think everyone should have that be part of their relationship. But instead, people are like, even if you get sick, I'm still not going to fuck someone else.
I think it's so awesome. I feel really inspired. And it's cool to see maybe a couple steps ahead of us. But as they were talking, I was like, are you saying our values or are you saying your values? Because these are totally ours too. And I love the idea of bringing in all these different, like we have many, many modes and you don't always get to have a ceremony with all the modes at once. So either split them apart or find a way to bring them all together.
Yeah.
Make sure that in moments of disconnection, you can have words that you come back to or activities you come back to or values you come back to.
It's important to know what your values are because often if you're feeling like you're going against your values, you're going to have a really strong emotional response. And if you're not grounded in that, it becomes really difficult to like actually figure out what the source of the pain is. It's really, really useful to have those to come back to. It's like, oh, actually, I'm feeling like I have to hide this part of myself, and authenticity is like so important to me.
Yeah, it's like if you're clashing, it might be because you are not agreeing on values or you're not like living your values.
Yeah, definitely.
Is it possible to cheat in your relationship?
Given the polyness of it all,
Yes.
let's get into that.
Well, we still have agreements. We don't really like to say rules. Like there are things that like we have both agreed on to make us feel good. You know, you can definitely break an agreement, which I guess is the equivalent of cheating. It's the same feeling I think that people would experience from cheating. Maybe, you know, we talk about like, oh, if you're going to go on a date on a weeknight, like I don't want you coming home super late because it wakes me up before I go to work. And so I'd like you to be home by this time, or that's the main agreement we have. Because I get really...
and things like that.
I get really grumpy when I don't sleep.
Yeah, that's one of the main ones is like making sure we have alignment about when or if we're coming home. Because honestly, one of the things has become like, if I'm going to come home super late, it's probably better that I just stay over at the other person's house.
Yeah.
Rather than wake her up and it ruins her work day the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a sentence that like a lot of normies would be like, what? Where you're on a date and you're like, hey, you mind if I stay over? I don't want to wake my wife up when I go home.
Exactly. Well, yeah, obviously there has to be a lot of disclosure and consent on the other part too.
I'm curious about, did these agreements get ramped up in any way when you got married?
No. Nothing's really changed. That's the funny thing is that I feel like the marriage actually was just this ceremonial affirmation of our relationship, which was like more satisfying than I expected it to be. And this is also coming from me who, when I was growing up, I really didn't think I was necessarily going to get married. None of my friends' parents were married. My parents had previous marriages before they married each other, and then they divorced when I was 3. So I didn't have any real role models of successful marriages. I thought it was like a institution founded in patriarchy that feeds capitalism and dismantling of communities and blah, blah, blah.
But you got to get a diamond ring, dude. Come on.
Yeah. So I was very skeptical, but honestly, dating Elektra and seeing her family and knowing that there were times when her parents almost broke up, but then they ended up like working it out. And they also had like the kind of it takes a village mentality where literally like the rest of their family like sat with them and talked with them and like helped them figure it out. That was actually very inspirational for me. I was like, oh, they've been married for like 40 years. Nobody's perfect, but like they actually are quite happy.
They're pretty cute.
I think it went from having 0 models of successful marriage to seeing actual marriages that could work actually did influence me.
Yeah. I think I said at a very young age to my parents, like, I just don't know if what I saw as like a traditional life was really for me. But yeah, I feel like together we've been able to carve our own path and just create what it means to us outside of whatever other normative, constrained expectations there are on it.
Have you talked through what would end your marriage or what the circumstances would be for this no longer to work?
I don't know.
You know, we have a lot of like the basic operating system in alignment, and it would take a pretty dramatic change for us to operate differently or to like somehow suddenly decide, you know what? I don't know if I really feel like Kev anymore. That's not really going to happen.
And then also like a lot of people feel a lot of dissatisfaction, and you know that is when sex comes to play, and that's not something that we like, I feel like you learn a lot from different people and different partners, and like you can bring that into the relationship and like new ideas. Like, it keeps things fresh. It also like makes us feel like so appreciative of each other that when we can like go off and have our own adventures, I think it brings us closer together.
And it's hard to get bored.
Yeah, it's hard to get bored.
Because with the idea of like, I've been talking a lot about teamwork. We have teamwork in terms of making daily life work, like teamwork for doing housework and chores, teamwork for paying the bills, paying the rent. But we also have teamwork for like sex, group sex, through going to parties, doing teamed up kinky stuff.
We don't call it that in the moment.
Yeah, it's like, and now it's time for teamed up kinky stuff.
Let's go, team.
That's really funny.
We do say let's go team sometimes.
It's true, we do.
Yeah, actually, we do say that. Yeah, we say all these things, actually.
We don't call it teamed up kinky stuff, but there's definitely like, all right, yeah, good job, team. Proud of us.
Mm-hmm.
That comes up.
Maxson, how would you want to be communicated with in a similar situation?
In a world where we're poly,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the bigger question is, would we want to be poly at all? And that's kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever considered it?
Currently, we have like no question is unaskable or request is unrequestable. And so we just talk about things as they come up. I really like that. That just makes me feel safe to know I'm allowed to express parts of myself that are coming up and vice versa. And they don't feel scary.
Have either of you ever been in an open relationship of any kind?
I have, but I think I'm the kind of person who gives open relationships a bad name because I was just too scared to break up with this person. So it's like a soft ending.
I don't think of it and like feel scared at all. I feel like it's totally something that we can do. I feel Emily are united in that we feel that there's a lot of love to give and there's so much we can learn from our friends and other people that we can bring to our own relationship. I'm really drawn to the creation of like mutual values and centering our relationship around those values. That sounds really nice. If we want to have like other sexual contact with other people, we should talk about it. Stuff like that's come up in the past. We've talked about it and executed on various things like super, super well. I'm really proud of our relationship in that way. I just feel like the sky is the limit if we want it to go in a certain direction, and the sky is the limit if we don't. I feel really empowered. I worry the most about the logistical annoyance of it. I'm like, there's already enough logistics.
That's real.
It's real.
But yeah, in terms of feeling jealous or feeling discarded or feeling not prioritized, all that stuff can happen when you're not in an open relationship. So you got to figure it out.
Exactly.
Totally.
And being in a polyamorous relationship or open relationship probably foregrounds it, but you still need to have those skills. So I'm not too freaked out about it.
Well, you have a couple people that you could talk to.
I know, our special little guides.
Yeah, tune in for next season. Should Miles, Elektra, Emily, and Maxson all get married to each other? Hey guys, Maxson here. You remember that interview we did 2 years ago? Well, things have really blossomed with our friends Miles and Elektra. Let's get them on the show.
Friends is not quite the right word anymore.
Yeah. Can I ask a question? I want to ask it on behalf of whatever handful of people are going to be listening to this, and they're going to be like, you guys have too much time on your hands to be ballooning it up and having so much fun and doing all this like weird shit, and they're probably jealous. And even if I analyze myself, I'm like feeling a little jealous where I'm like, wow, like these are all such creative ideas, but also it's so complicated. You got to do so much communication and you got to have the shared calendar and you have all these protocols and you got to do DBT and blah, blah, blah. Like, what do you say to someone who's like, you guys are, maybe a better way to phrase it is this. When you've experienced judgment about your lifestyle in the past, what's been your response? And what have people said to you?
We get a lot of like, oh, I could never do that.
Yeah. Or like, oh, well, you're only with him until you find the right one, right?
Yeah, someone said that to me once. Someone said, well, you're only with him until you find the right one, right? And I was like, the right one for me would never be monogamous. Like, I don't want monogamy. Like, I would be bored. Like, I need variety.
My mom does know that we're polyamorous. She doesn't necessarily know about the kink. But before we got married, and she was like, well, you're cheating on her with permission. And I was like, what does that even mean? Like, how can you cheat on someone with permission? When you give your blessing to someone, how is that cheating?
Yeah, my mom's most like common question is, well, what if he meets someone and then he leaves you? And I think that's like so interesting because like I always say to her, well, I feel like he's actually less likely to leave me because he can explore that connection. Like so many people are like afraid to explore connections that might actually just be like fleeting chemistry or whatever it might be. Like I think it's actually really healthy to be able to actually lean into that. And then because I feel so secure in all the foundation that we've built, I'm like, well, I don't really feel like I'm at risk of us, like of that collapsing, of those pillars collapsing because he has a crush on someone, you know?
Yeah. If you were trying to sell me and Emily on like join this amazing special club of people that live life this way, like pitch it to us.
I mean, you get to have a lot of fun. You get to hang out with people and explore. You get to explore how relationships can manifest in all kinds of ways. You can have all kinds of silly fun without feeling self-conscious about whether you're upsetting your partner or betraying them because they're right there by your side.
That sounds nice. Elektra, sell us.
Well, one of our common phrases is poly for the leftovers. So whenever I go on a date, I make sure that I come home with a bunch of leftovers for Miles. So he really reaps the benefits of me going out without him. And it gives him a little bit of incentive to feel good about when I'm out. For me, it's about the collective like community component of it, of like having people around you that you can call upon and for like various things.
Okay, this is a question we always end with. Do you think that Maxson and Emily should get married?
Ooh.
Or should we just stay dating forever?
I think yes.
Amazing.
Because from what you have shared, it sounds like you're pretty aligned and like the kind of life that you want to lead. And I feel like it sounds like I honestly think having that open like channel for communicating is key to like a successful relationship. So I think it's a good excuse for a party.
I agree.
Thank you, Elektra. Mr. Miles?
So from the information that I have, I'm going to say yes. You guys are teaming up on this podcast. You guys already have a co-creative endeavor. You're balancing creative inputs and feedback. You guys have been to Burning Man together and you didn't break up. So that's a big pressure test. Not everybody can go to Burning Man and come out the other side. It is a real intense environment. I agree that the policy of no topic is taboo is one of the key things for a relationship to be able to be transparent and have trust to adapt. Because I think if topics become off limits, then that's how people grow apart and that's how relationships end, because you grow in different directions and you can't actually check in and find alignment. I think you guys could do it. I guess a question for you is, if you were to get married, do you feel like anything would change?
You feel like anything would change, Emily?
I think that might be one of our fears and what we're trying to assuage here. Is like right now it feels so alive and ever growing and dynamic and interesting, and there's some myth we have that like getting married kind of like puts a stake in the ground of like wherever we are right now is like what it's going to be.
Yeah.
But talking to people like you is really helpful.
I think your comment about the fear of change, like whether it would change anything, it brings to mind the thought that I think one of our kind of core perspectives that we have in our relationship is this idea that, what's the saying, like an enduring relationship isn't just falling in love with one person, it's actually falling in love with every version that they become.
Wow.
Which also aligns with our multiverse concept.
I was going to bring that up.
You just learn to love whoever shows up. You know, whoever your partner shows up as, you just commit to getting to know that version of them and loving them, and knowing that your partner contains multitudes. Your partner is a multiverse unto themselves. So like you're not marrying one person. You're not committing to things not changing. What you're committing to is navigating change.
Yep.
Well said.
I love it.
Okay, we just finished our interview with Miles and Elektra. Emily, in regard to legal marriage, what takeaways are we feeling here?
I think my main one here is that we have been sold this vision of marriage, and there's just many ways to do it.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Marriage truly means something different for everyone. And that's actually quite awesome. Another takeaway for me that I found really powerful is they had a really deliberate discussion, likely series of discussions, saying, all right, our relationship is not grounded in monogamy. What is our relationship grounded in? And they had those 4 different things, with the secret 5th one of authenticity, community, adventure, and balance. And ACAB as the secret 5th one. Like, they're revolutionaries. They want to be authentic. They want to foster community with each other. They want to have a lot of adventure. That's like great. Having a conversation where you are defining what your relationship is all about is something that people, I don't think, do enough. So if we were ever going to, even if we don't get married, even if we should probably just like do this tomorrow, TBH. What are we trying to ground it in?
Honesty, humor, adventure, support of the other person's dreams, being open to change.
For sure.
All right, Maxson, after this conversation, are you feeling more or less interested in getting married?
I am feeling more interested in getting married after this conversation. I'm like, this is an example of a married couple who do it their way. I don't necessarily want to have the exact same relationship as them, but I'm like, they got married. They got to have a bunch of really fun parties for their marriage. It just made me feel like, yeah, fuck yeah. You can do it exactly as you want to do it.
Yeah, I agree.
What about you?
Yeah, I feel inspired by them, and I would love to be inspiring to other people. And it's okay if we do this our way and people see us have a quote unquote traditional wedding and they come and they see something that's very us. They see a relationship that's very our own, but we're calling it marriage. We're like expanding what that word can mean and what it can look like. Instead of sort of fighting it. Yeah.
Sweet. Well, that's the end of our show. And if you like what you heard, then you might even like the next thing you'll hear, which is on the next episode, a snippet of which will be played in 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Roll the snippet from the next episode. Roll it.
What does make a relationship last is, do you have the ability to repair after there's a conflict?
Do you think we have that?
I think you're learning it.
Should We Get Married is an original series by Easily Wowed and Bad Cooley Productions. This episode was created by me, Maxson and Elektra,
And me, Emily Carter.
and our producer, Ramoy Phillip.
Theme music is the song Fake Romantic by the band Melt. Logo and brand design by Madeline Vogue.
Sound design and mixing by Ramoy Phillip. We also want to say thank you to Miles and Elektra for being so open and honest with us about their relationship.
There are so many of you out there who are asking these exact same questions, and we don't all have to investigate marriage on our own. Subscribe to Should We Get Married and learn with us as we make our decision.
Thanks for coming on this ride with us. See you next time.
Fake romantic. You twirl me on the subway, but keep me at an arm's length. Won't let me in when push comes to shove. Fake romantic. I ask you if you're okay. You laugh it off like I'm so presumptuous. Break your heart free of its disguise.